Hey guys, and welcome back to the Impact Defense Podcast. In this podcast, we're going to be talking about guns.
Pew pew.
Welcome to the Impact Defense Podcast. We're dedicated to giving you the information that you need to help keep you safe. Now, let's join our hosts, Brian and Jada.
Okay, so we're going to talk about guns this time because we have been doing a lot of things around guns lately. So I just got back from a higher level defensive pistol class that I was doing. That went well, although it lived up to the hype as far as the difficulty. It was kind of rough and intense, and definitely it's not the longest course I've ever done, but it was one of the harder ones. We'll put it that way, by far.
And last week, me and Jada, I think it was last week. Was it last week?
Yeah, the week before anyway.
The
Let's
week
just
before.
say it that way.
Whatever. Anyway, we went to do a rifle shooting class to be rifle instructors. Ish.
Do all the same qualification stuff as a rifle instructor. We're just not old enough to be the full instructors yet. So, we will have that certification when we turn 21.
Yep.
Right now, I am an assistant rifle instructor and Kylie is an apprentice.
So very much so like the pistol instructors that they are. Kylie's an apprentice pistol instructor. Jada's an assistant pistol instructor. And, basically...
Now we have rifles under our belt.
Now you have rifles under your belt. Maybe the certification under your belt.
Yes.
But basically, we're going to talk about guns for a few things. We have talked about it on the podcast before.
Guns are a taboo subject. Like, you either are for them majorly or against them majorly, and I haven't met a whole lot of people in between.
There are some people in between. I've met a few in between.
But not as many as there are really heavy in one direction or really heavy in another direction.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm a firearms instructor in multiple disciplines. You ladies are firearms instructors-ish, as Kylie says. We are definitely not against guns. But again, I don't think a gun's going to solve your problems every time. And I think to fully rely on something like that... is... It's a bit naive. Maybe that's a good way to put it.
Very naive.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to be nice. So, I think, we're talking about self-defense. We need, and I'm only going to do this one time. Okay? When you're talking about actual self-defense, you need awareness. You need the ability to avoid. You need de-escalation skills. You need, you honestly need at least some type of soft hand skills because not everything requires pulling out a weapon. So I say soft hand skills, deflecting, pushing, trapping, whatever. And you should be able to throw some type of basic strikes. I'm not saying that you need to be a high-level kickboxing type of striker, but being able to throw a palm heel strike in somebody's nose is a really good thing for self-defense. So now, to the positive points of guns. When you need a gun, when you actually really, really need a gun, very few other things will substitute.
Before we jump too deep into this podcast, I would like to remind you that this podcast is brought to you by ImpactDefense.online.
All right, so as I said, in those moments when you actually need a firearm, very few times will something else work.
Some of the biggest mistakes made on both sides is that you never really need a gun to defend yourself. So that's obviously on the anti-gun side.
Yeah.
It's like, if they think that either nothing justifies using a gun for self-defense, or that because of a lack of knowledge and understanding of how guns actually work and function, they think that you never really need one. Or that it's too dangerous to use one.
Yep.
And in a lot of cases, you shouldn't. But in the ones that you should, you really should. And the people on the other side thinking that, I guess the people who think that the first rule of gun safety is to carry one, they seem to think that almost any problem can be solved with a gun.
Yeah.
I'll just shoot them. Oh, I'd just shoot them. Oh, I'd just pull out my good 45 and shoot them.
So we see that attitude a lot. we've discussed before on the podcast where we had uploaded a graphic with a quote on there, something, I don't remember what it said, it's been a while back, but a person is standing there holding someone at gunpoint, and a person commented on that picture and said, well, I would just pull out my gun and shoot that person. If somebody already has a gun on you, you can't just pull out your gun
Because
and
any
shoot that
slight
person.
movement, they're going to pull the trigger.
If they are looking to pull the trigger, sure. So,
Like, you have that moment of action versus reaction. Like, you can start to go for your gun before they shoot you, but you're not going to finish it because it's only a split second reaction for them to realize what you're doing.
yeah. All right. So what we really want to do with this one is talk a little bit about, if you're new to guns, talk a little bit about, even if you're not new to guns, understand that you need training in order to understand how to actually shoot in a defensive manner. It is completely different than just target shooting.
Yes.
If your only experience shooting is what your granddaddy or your daddy told you, you should probably finish out this podcast.
Yeah.
You should probably what?
Finish out this podcast.
I think
Yeah.
they should finish out this podcast either way.
Yeah, they really should. I'm just saying, like, if they're considering leaving because they think they know everything they need to know because they're...
Well,
daddy and
even so,
granddaddy taught
if
them.
you take in a basic gun class, a basic pistol class, a basic gun safety class, or, taking a concealed carry permit class, that is not defensive shooting. It's not. And, I'm a concealed carry permit instructor. Obviously, you ladies know this. We do this type of training at least once a month, where we train a group for their concealed carry permit certificates. And when doing that, you don't get to do everything that you really, really want to do with them. So that's where people need to get more training. And I don't care how much training you've had, you really should continue to train.
Find a defensive shooting class, like we have.
Thank you, Kylie. Thank you for the plug. Yeah, defensive shooting, defensive pistol, defensive rifle, defensive something or other.
Now, some
will
people
help out
might not know
tremendously.
what the difference is. What is the difference between defensive shooting and target shooting?
Okay. So, target shooting, if I'm standing out, and it doesn't matter what type of gun I have, but if I'm standing out there in front of a target and I'm on a flat range, it doesn't have to be a flat range, but I'm on a range and I'm shooting at a piece of paper. Just shooting that piece of paper and I'm standing still the whole time. That's target
Aligning
shooting.
your sights.
Yeah.
One thing is that target is not moving.
Right. And even if it
So-
is in the case of something like
A video game
clay
type
pigeons.
thing.
Well, that's true too. But something like skeet or clay pigeons or whatever you want to call them.
Or
There's little
can that is.
things that fly. They shoot out.
Skeet.
Skeet.
I said depending. Different people call them different things.
Shooting clays.
Yeah, whatever. So as they are being shot out there, that's still not defensive shooting,
Yeah.
but it is a moving target.
Yeah.
But anyway, you have no adrenaline. You have no, you don't have the stress that you're under unless people are just kind of watching you shoot. That can cause a lot of stress.
Uh-huh.
It definitely can. I mean, all you ladies can attest to that as
Uh-huh.
well. But that is not defensive shooting in any way when you're shooting at a static target and there is no type of adrenaline, no type of stress. Really, what you really need to do is you need to do something to adrenalize yourself. When we're talking about defensive shooting, we're talking about getting your gun out of your holster. We're talking about getting on target. Your aiming is not really aiming. It's point shooting at that point
Let's
in time.
talk about the most basic form of defensive shooting. In target shooting, you take the time to align your sights and try to get the best shot possible.
Yeah.
The most basic level of defensive shooting is just bringing your gun up and without aiming, just bring it up, point at the target, and shoot and try to get as close to the center as you can.
Point shooting.
Yes,
point
it's
shooting.
also like laser tag.
You're saying this because you played laser tag this weekend.
Yeah. Laser tag's fine. You should try it sometime.
Not when you have a broken foot.
He did it anyway.
I know, I assumed.
the podcast is not the place to discuss this.
I creeped up around the corner, and one of the girls I was on a different team was there, and I popped bang, bang, bang. Again.
It's almost unfair. You're kind of a rival.
Bang, bang.
Yeah, but it was funny.
And she screamed because I scared you. Ah!
Let's say this. Okay, so like 2 years ago, we hadn't played laser tag in like 2 years. And we went back to the same place.
No, I played home laser tag with somebody.
Okay. We haven't played laser tag in like 2 years. The last time we were there to this time we were there, maybe a year and a half, it was like night and day for Kylie because of the training that she's had. She went from like, oh yeah, this is kind of fun. We've played a lot of laser tag through the years. That's just something we enjoy doing. When we were off on vacation, we look for a place with laser tag. If we can.
It's fun.
And, but we've not done it since before all of the firearms training stuff. And then all of a sudden, yeah, she was either like top 3 scores the entire time. I may have been usually the top, or when I was at the top, she was. She actually got first place one time throughout the entire thing. Yeah. And it was quite funny because tactics changed for her. And one time when we were on opposite teams, I was kind of shocked by her a couple of times.
Yes, so me and this other little kid took the high ground, and I noticed some blue lights. It's like, okay, let's go this way. So we went that way, and we ended up behind them. They didn't see us. So I was like, ready to shoot? He said, yeah. And then we just bang, bang, bang. And then they're looking everywhere trying to find where we are. And we were ducking down at that point.
So her use of cover and concealment increased dramatically.
I'm not going to lie, my back was hurting by the end.
Now, I'm not going to say that playing laser tag is a good training tool. It's not. But maybe it was a decent testing ground.
It's so fun.
I don't know. Anyway, just running my mouth a little bit. But yeah, you were talking about point shooting. So when you are drawing out of your holster, no matter how you hold the holster, drawing out, getting on target, and pulling that trigger as fast as possible, that's point shooting. I mean, that is...
And you think about it, you've got to have that. If you have no experience with that, you're going to have so much trouble in a self-defense situation when you don't have time to get your sights aligned.
Yeah.
You just don't. You have to bring it up, point, and shoot as quickly as possible while hitting what you want to hit.
Yes. Because, as, John Lovell loves to say, if you know who John Lovell is, there's a lawyer attached to every bullet that you fire from your gun. But yeah, there's a lawyer attached to every bullet that leaves your gun. And we were talking about the fact that, and I actually tell about this situation every single time we teach a concealed carry class. I saw a video on YouTube of a situation where a guy is in the doorway of this other guy's car, attacking him. And the guy that's sitting in the car is a concealed carry permit holder, and he reaches in and grabs his gun. The dude is in the driver's side doorway right there, and he pulls the gun up and shoots at the guy. He has to be within touching distance. And he misses him that far away, and it shoots out the back glass of another car. If there had been a kid sitting in the back seat of that car that he shot out, that kid would have been dead. Now, I understand. There are some people out there that says people should not be able to conceal carry. I mean, they just think that they shouldn't. I disagree with that. I do think that if you're going to do it, you need to take your training seriously.
Yes.
And if that means that you're going to take one class and call it done, I think it's not good at all.
People always assume I'm going to strongly disagree with someone who says that people shouldn't conceal carry, but I see where they're coming from. As a concealed carry, as someone who assists in a lot of concealed carry classes, I agree that there are a lot of people that shouldn't conceal carry.
Yeah.
Because either they're not going to be willing to get the extra training that they really need to become a safe concealed carry permit holder, or they maybe they just don't have the right attitude or are too eager. But like, I understand where they're coming from and not thinking that people should conceal carry. But, as someone who has a lot of other training and understands it, a whole lot better than most people, I disagree. I think there are a lot of people that should be able to conceal carry, and I think the world is a lot safer for it.
I do too.
People assume I'm going to strongly disagree or really butt heads with that person, but I really don't care.
No.
If you don't think that someone should
people
conceal carry, then don't conceal carry.
Yeah, there are some people that shouldn't conceal carry.
There are a lot of people that want to conceal carry that shouldn't conceal carry.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And it goes back to your point there. And it's just because they're unwilling to, we talked about the fact everybody feels like they are John Wick until they are actually out there and shooting and realizing that, this is actually a lot harder than I thought it was. When people miss people at that distance from arm's length away and can still miss people, you've got a lot to figure out. So I've trained with a lot of different instructors, firearms instructors. My primary instructor, Tim, we were just talking about this at the class this weekend, and he says when he teaches a concealed carry class, he tells them, and I like this, he tells them, says that if this is going to be the only class that you take in firearms, please don't carry. And I agree with that. I think that people need to take more than just one class. I mean, obviously, I have taken a lot, and I'm taking more.
I've taken about 10 concealed carry classes.
I don't know if you helping with. I don't know if you can count that as taking. Let's just say
I'm there for all the material.
Yeah, let's just say by the time that you and then by the time Kylie gets old enough, these classes should be a breeze for you too. So, because we'll have sat down so many by that point.
Carrying a firearm can be either a very good thing or a very bad thing.
Yeah, it totally depends on the person.
Yeah, it really does. And it just depends on their attitude and their willingness. If you're going to carry a gun and you're going to rely on it for most situations, if you are a I'll just shoot them kind of person, you don't need to carry a firearm. And the reason is if you carry a gun, it better be your last resort.
Yeah.
Like, you better have your mind set on this is my last resort.
Yes.
Because I'm not saying I care if you shoot the person who is attacking you and warrants it. I care about you not shooting another innocent person in the process. If you have not trained under stress, you cannot say that you will hit your target.
Yeah. The first big defensive pistol class that we held here, when we started putting people in stress and making them move and run and doing some shooting with the laser pistols, they were quite shocked and amazed at how much it threw off their aim and how much it threw off their ability to shoot, because you have to shoot quickly and everything else. They kept talking about that.
And they're only used to like shooting non-moving targets.
Yeah.
Targets
well, in that case, the targets wouldn't move. The targets were up on the wall. We had them moving a lot.
Oh.
And shooting.
Adrenaline does some weird things.
Yeah.
Now, if you're listening to this and you're one of the people that say people shouldn't conceal carry, or that people shouldn't have guns, which I don't think we really have many followers that are like that, except for maybe on TikTok.
No, I'm guarantee we have followers like that on TikTok.
Yeah, I know. If you're listening to this and you're one of those people and you're hearing us talk about guns and you think guns are deadly and dangerous and you shouldn't have one, you are correct in that they are deadly and they are, well, and as long as... Okay, here's the deal. Guns are deadly, but they're not dangerous. The person whose hands they're in determines whether they are dangerous or not.
Yes.
Yes. Because they can be safe as long as they're in the right hands.
It all depends on the person holding the gun. Even if you are not for firearms, I'm telling you right now, you should be happy that we are teaching about them. And the reason is, we're not trying to put a gun in everybody's hands.
No.
We're trying to make the people holding the guns a lot better shooters and a lot safer around civilians and other people.
They're more educated to the idea of how difficult it actually is in a real situation.
Yes, we're working for the... Because think about it. Even if we weren't teaching the concealed carry stuff, they would find a concealed carry class somewhere. We're in the South. There's some everywhere. You will find a class if it's not us. What we do is we take the people in that would otherwise be getting pushed through really quickly, and instead of pushing them through, we hold them back and we say, these are the things you have to know before you even decide to carry a firearm. We treat everyone in the class as if they have not yet decided to carry a firearm or not. Because we don't want them to have been decided whether they want to carry a firearm or not. We want them to decide whether it is actually safe for them to carry. We don't want innocent people to get hurt, and a gun in the wrong hands is how innocent people get hurt. We've had some people come through here before that I hope decide to never conceal carry.
Yeah. No, I would completely agree with that.
I'm not afraid to admit it.
Yeah.
Nope.
One of the main reasons we got into this to begin with is purely because in looking at those that are around us, and I'm not trying to throw off on people or anything, I'm just going to be like serious. A lot of the people that are around us that teach this, there are some really good ones, there are a few really good ones. Most of them are either just trying to get it done, trying to make money, or just simply think that putting the gun in someone's hands is going to make them safe for the rest of their lives. Most of the instructors around here that do this do not actually understand how violence actually works. Therefore, their education of people in this respect is way off because they are not teaching them the reality of this stuff. You know, my prayer and hope is that anybody that ever comes to our class never has to draw that gun and use it. I pray they never have to. I had one man ask me one time, or not, he didn't ask me. We were actually out on the range and we were having a discussion about some things. This was during the concealed carry. And he said, my concern is that carrying a gun changes your attitude. And I said, sir, with all due respect, if carrying a gun changes your attitude, you shouldn't carry a gun. If having that gun on you just changes your attitude to think that, you know, you can use this in some way or whatever, if it changes your attitude in any way, you should not carry a gun. I really wholeheartedly believe that. I've been doing training for years. I've been actually training people in like hand-to-hand stuff for the last 18 years. My very first thing that I'm going to go to is going to be hands-on first. And having a gun on my side, it's not going to change that. You know, if I'm carrying a gun, it's not going to change just because I have this gun. Well, I'm probably going to go, or no, not probably, I am definitely going to go hands-on before I do that, unless, like you said, it's a last resort situation, and the only thing I'm going to have time to do is draw the gun. Or the only thing I'm going to be able to do is draw a gun because he's across the room with a gun or something along those lines. You know, that would be the moments where I would draw first. But if somebody's up close to me and they don't necessarily have the gun or weapon or whatever on them first, I'm probably going to go hands-on.
Mm-hmm. This may be an odd opinion, but I think if you're against a gun and you have never held or learned about them before, like you haven't taken the time to understand how they work and haven't fired them, and you're going to say that people shouldn't have them, I really think that you should go to a shooting range with experienced instructors and have them teach you about it. Yeah. About how it works.
Because you don't know if you'll like it until you actually try it.
Well, not really just that. It's like, if someone's going to be educated about guns, like if someone knows about them and actually understands them, and they are against people having them, I can respect that person. Because if you have experience with it, and what you have said is just like, I just don't know that I trust other people enough to carry this.
Yeah.
Then I think you need to go, or, like, I can respect that opinion. Because you've taken the time to understand it. But if you are, I respect people that are anti-people carrying guns, or respect people that are anti-this. I don't respect people that are anti-gun in general.
Yeah.
Because it's a tool.
Yeah.
It's a tool. It's kind of like being against a hammer. Like being against hammers, because hammers are potentially dangerous. No, a hammer is dangerous if the person holding it decides to hit someone with it.
Yeah, I was actually having a conversation about it, and I had a very similar thing, and they said, oh, not the guns don't kill people, people kill people argument again. Isn't it kind of a true argument?
It is. And we're talking about even people who accidentally shoot people. It's the result of either carelessness or ignorance.
Yeah.
There are two people that shouldn't have guns. People that are careless and people that are ignorant of how they work. You being anti-gun instead of anti-certain people with guns, I don't know that I really have a whole lot of respect for people that are just anti-gun itself. Because I trust guns a whole lot more than I trust people.
Well, the gun is not just going to up and shoot you.
Exactly. If you don't understand how they work, I can see how you would think that it would just... It's just kind of like when your kid's toy malfunctions and, like, you can cut the off switch off and it doesn't go off. Every now and then it pops back up, so you have to take the batteries out. I mean, guns are not that way.
Yeah.
Unless you look at it as, the cartridges and everything are... The batteries. You take those out, and the gun's not going to do anything to you. There are so many things that have to go wrong, or you have to forget or be careless of for it to actually shoot someone. Guns don't just go off all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Something has to happen in order for that to happen. Some careless mistake has to be made. Basically, if you are for guns and you are pro-gun, you better go get firearms training if you're going to have one. You can be pro-gun and not have one and not get training. That I'm okay with. You can... But you shouldn't be anti-gun and not have any gun training.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to actually know about it, and then... It's the same way... I'm sure you have lots of opinions that you think, oh, well, if you knew more about it, then you would have a different opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Like, everybody has those opinions. Even anti-gun people have opinions that they're just over here like, well, you just don't know enough about it. You should learn more about it before you say that I'm wrong. Well, we're saying this about guns. If you're going to be anti-gun, go learn about them first. Go get training with them.
With a decent instructor.
Yes, with a good instructor.
Not Bubba from the backyard,
Yeah. Don't go to your one friend who does say guns, take me shooting. Unless they're a trained firearm instructor that has...
And we're not...
shows really good knowledge. Their attitude is, well... You'll be safe if you have a gun. We're not trying to run down your friends that do own guns. What we are saying is that not everybody is as trained as everybody else.
Yeah.
And if you are anti-gun, obviously you would want someone who's very experienced to help you with them.
Yeah.
So, go online, do some research about the people in your areas, look at their reviews, go in, see who looks like they're the most qualified, and then go in and have them teach you about the firearm. So that you understand it. As long as you understand it and say you're against it, I will be okay with your opinion. But if you come to me and you say that I'm evil for teaching people how to use this and how I want people to die, and you don't know anything about the thing that you're talking about, you don't know anything about how firearms work, you don't know anything about the statistics of people who carry them, then I cannot respect your opinion or argue with you rationally.
Yeah.
Like, I am perfectly fine with disagreeing with people, which is not a common trait.
I know.
Okay?
That's the truth.
I am perfectly okay with disagreeing with someone, just so long as we can have a calm, cool discussion about it. Because I'm not going to turn to insults. And if you turn to insults, you're going to turn me off of listening to you.
Yeah.
it's like, I like talking to people I disagree with when we can have a really rational discussion, because it opens me up to different perspectives.
I agree.
And I've already said that if you don't want people to carry guns, that's your business, as long as you know what you're talking about. There is someone that my husband works with that is anti-concealed carry. And my husband works at an airsoft field, like where people shoot each other with airsoft pistols all the time. And my bet is that he's seen a lot of kids that are like, man, this would be really fun with real guns. And that's just, to me, I can understand how that would be like, yeah, I'm not sure I want some of these people actually carrying real guns. I can understand his opinion.
Yeah.
And Cody was like, whatever you do, don't bring up concealed carry around this guy when you come over here to visit me at work. And I'm just like, really? You're not going to have that problem. First of all, I'm not going to bring it up in the first place. Second, I can probably understand his opinion because he works in this place. And my bet is he's shot real guns. It's like Cody said that he's pro-gun, he just doesn't, he's not pro-concealed carry.
See, I'm pro-concealed carry and anti-open carry.
I don't know what his opinion is on open carry. But it's just like, I can understand people with different opinions. I'm not going to seek him out to be like, what's the deal here, bro? You work at an airsoft field. People shoot each other here. I mean, with airsoft guns, but still. I understand it. Like, I wouldn't want someone with an attitude of, shooting people is so fun. It would be so cool. I think I'm going to join the military just so I can do this for real. You know? Like, there are those people that come around the airsoft fields, and that's terrifying.
Yeah, that's...
I can understand why he wouldn't want some of these people to be able to get a concealed carry. I get it. So, I'm okay with people disagreeing with me. I still have a different opinion than him.
All right, so as we are wrapping this up, let's go. If you're all for carrying a gun, we are all for that. We just say, please, please, please train. Now, there are many, many options. Get out there and take a class. But also, even if you take classes, you need to actually practice on your own. You can go to your local range, go to your backyard, depending on where you live, and actually put rounds down range. That makes a huge difference. Another thing is, we have learned in running firearms classes, what is the number one thing that messes people up trying to hit their target? Number one problem.
Trigger pull?
Trigger pull. Yes. I did not feed that to her. That is absolutely it. And we have found one of the best training tools for that is a SIRT pistol. SIRT. Yeah. And we just want to kind of tell you about this because if you go to sirtpistol.com, that's SIRT pistol.com, and you look at any of their pistols, you can get anything on their site and use the coupon code IMPACTDEFENSE, all one word, and that will get you 10% off of anything on their site. They have phenomenal products. We are big fans of theirs, and we use their stuff all the time in every one of our firearms classes. Mm-hmm. They are not like super cheap. Understand that going in, but the type of training that you can use...
It's cheaper than trying to work on trigger pull issues with even a .22.
It is. I mean, I think like...
because you have the initial cost of the SIRT pistol, and then you just have it.
Yeah.
It's... You don't have to pay for cartridges or rounds. You just
have...
Yes, and it works even better because you can work on your trigger pull without having the issue of recoil. Yep. And not being able to tell if it's a recoil issue or a trigger pull issue.
Yep.
Because the SIRT pistols have the laser that comes out whenever you pull the trigger and it stays out. So you can watch the laser move with your finger. And
you pair that with something like the iDrawFire app, which is like $7.99 on at least the Apple store. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Probably on the Android, I'd say it's probably about the same. But anyway, and that way you can see your drag lines and everything else. It is phenomenal. We absolutely love that. Using both of those in tandem is great. It really is. It's one of our favorite things, and we use those in class a lot as well. But anyway, sirtpistol.com. Use the coupon code Impact Defense, all one word, get you 10% off of any of their products. Outside of that, oh yeah, next podcast, Kylie, what is coming up in our next podcast?
We're going to have a special guest, Robin, a.k.a. Dutch in the USA.
Yeah, so you guys have seen him. He's on YouTube. He is on Instagram. He is on TikTok.
I've seen him on Pinterest.
Seen on Pinterest?
I have seen him on Pinterest.
Is it just stuff that people have shared from his?
I guess, but he is like the name for escapes and really self-defense and anti-abduction stuff.
Yeah.
On TikTok, and like I think that's where he got really big.
Yeah. So as you know, we
super
are
cool dude.
Kind of really big in that abduction prevention thing. We really believe in it. We go around. We teach stuff all the time. We're teaching abduction prevention stuff. Well, the really cool thing about what he does that is kind of,
it's different, but it pairs well.
It pairs very
really well.
So really, he looks at stuff like after the fact. If you have been taken away, escaping, it's showing how to escape. Zip ties, duct tape, all kinds of different things, rope, chains. He's done all kinds of stuff. It's really, really, really cool.
And he's done some other things too. Like I've seen him do some gun takeaways and stuff.
Yeah.
So he looks like he has a great knowledge basis, but we haven't gotten to really talk to him. So I'm super looking forward to this podcast. It should be awesome. We're going to get to know a lot about each other and we're going to learn how he started everything.
Yeah.
Kind of get an idea of how he views and how he chooses what he's going to teach or instruct, how he got to the knowledge base he has, and really, I guess, talk about how we pair, because we're the prevention stuff, and he's if what we've taught you fails, this is your escape plan. This is how you get away. It is absolutely awesome. I'm looking at his stuff. He has taught us a lot of things that we didn't know.
Yeah.
Because we really do focus on prevention.
Kylie?
We are going to Landmark Resort, Myrtle Beach, and we're going to hold a 3-day?
2-day.
2-day seminar there.
Yeah, so we're doing a weekend seminar. We are going to actually hold 3 days, but let me explain really quick. So, all right, so we are going to do a family-safe weekend event where we are going to talk about all of this different stuff with anti-abduction, just general self-defense, and all of that. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be a Friday evening and all-day Saturday. And then on Sunday, the third day, is going to be an instructor certification for abduction prevention. So we do a lot with abduction prevention. We have people that's kind of like saying stuff to us about how do we get involved in this. We are going to actually certify people in abduction prevention as instructors. To run 4-hour seminars around, and this has been a great thing that we have done and been able to do.
Yeah, so come join us in Myrtle Beach.
Yep, that will be October 15th, 16th, and then the instructor certification on the 17th.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Impact Defense Podcast. If you'd like to learn more about how to keep yourself safe, check out the articles, videos, courses, and seminars at www.impactdefensenc.com. We also do training for security teams, churches, businesses, groups, and more. Stay sharp, stay focused, and train hard.